G'day from down under. I'd like to introduce you to your Wurth fill and finish. Very simple. It's a wood putty, a grain filler, a crack filler, a sanding sealer, all in one product. The beauty of our product is quite simple. All we do, we use the tub, close it and keep on reusing it. It's freeze thaw stable. It doesn't shrink or sink or crack or fall out. Take some putty out of the container, mix it with some water, and we have a grain filler. It's very easy to use as a grain filler. It has an indefinite shelf life, and this tub will last you forever. If the tub dries out, add a few drops of water. If it's a very cold day and the putty freezes, just add a little bit of water and soften it up. But remember, don't waste anything. It's a total non-waste product. The answer to most questions is quite simple. You can stain it with water, oil, solvent, spirit, colour up with anything you want. There are no limitations to what you can use. And most important is, I'm going to show you how easy it is to work with it. I've taken a piece of timber, and from the piece of timber, I've routed out a few pieces of wood. I've grown out a corner, edges, plugs, etc. Then what I've done, quite simply, I've taken the same piece of wood as I just had a few minutes ago, and now what I've done is, I've now filled it. You'll have to look very, very carefully to see where the filler is, because the filler will not shrink, or sink, or crack, or fall out. We can get an exact colour match, which is quite easy. To get an exact colour match, you always check the colour when it is wet. Don't worry about how it dries. It always goes back to the colour that you chose when it was wet. I've now stained it. So taking the same piece of wood, I've gone and stained the wood. If you notice, I've deliberately gone and made that slightly different in colour, that you can now see where I've filled it. What's more is, if you look on the blank, and I'll show it to you in a bit more detail, you will not even see where I filled the putty, because it does not shrink, sink, crack or fall out. You can saw it, you can drill it, you can screw it, you can nail it, you can file it, you can plane it. So just to show you a little bit differently, I'll show you one more piece. What I've done over here is I've taken a piece of wood and I've used a different colour putty to highlight what I've done. Notice the crack on the end. We filled it, and all that's holding it together is a base and an end. It does not fall out. It will never come out. What's more is drill a pilot hole and I've screwed into it. I've then gone so far as I've sawn through it, and I've routed it, and I can use it as a end grain filler and an edge filler all in one. We then take a piece of plywood. Here what? It's been bullnosed. At the same time, what I've done is I've cut out a plug. When I've cut out the plug, I then filled it. All you do, if it's very deep, you fill in layers. If it's not, fill it straight out of the tub. It must always be dry before you stain it. It must always be dry before you sand it. We sand it down and we stain it. I welcome you to find the plug hole, which is there. It will be very, very difficult for you to see it, because we can exact colour match. So never ever will you have a problem with it whatsoever. Makers, very simple. Here's a piece of MDF. I've taken the MDF, and as you know, if you try and take a piece of MDF and try and stain it, all that's going to happen is you're going to have a problem. So it'll come out blotchy. So what I've done is taken some fill and finish, mixed it down with water, and made myself a grain filler. Don't worry how thick it is, it doesn't really matter. Sand it off and coat it. If you have a real good look at it, you'll see the difference between how smooth it is here and on the top, if I for any reason I have not coated it. Very, very easy and very simple to work with. The same applies with a piece of particle board. There it is. What I've done here is, I've taken the particle board, and all I've done the same piece up top here and just sprayed it. What here I've done there is I've mixed up a grain filler. Doesn't matter how thick it is, sand it off. When you sand it, it comes back to this smooth finish, and I've coated it. Smooth, smooth, smooth. If you look very carefully, you'll see from the top where I didn't coat it, and all I've done is I've only just sprayed it. So to sum it up very easily for you, you have an all-in-one filler, a wood putty, a grain filler, a crack filler, a sanding sealer, all in one product. Will never shrink or sink or crack or fall out, at a full bodied weight.